Hello, everyone. Tonight is Thursday, and you know what time that is, or what night that is for? It's for the Author's Dilemma show, and we are glad to have you here. If you're watching us live tonight, we appreciate your spending your time with us. And if you're in the car, well, we hope you're being safe, and we hope you're Yes, hands on the wheel, eyes open, ears open, and hopefully we'll all learn something tonight. But before we get into it, I am J.E. Jack. I write urban fantasy, paranormal thrillers, and whatever else that comes across my interest lately. Hyrum?
Yeah. Hyrum Hawks. I write. Sorry, jets are flying too close. I write hard sci-fi and sci-fantasy. Though I'm actually. My wife is trying to convince me to also finish my children's comedic fantasy book. So, working on that near future too.
Nice. I'm Jennifer Carr, and I write Christian suspense as well as clean contemporary romance.
Which goes on into our next segment. How's business for everybody? Hiram, what's going on with you? Besides,
good gracious.
Besides the jets
You're getting bombed or
shaking
something?
my house.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry. I'm literally in the flight path of Hill Air Force Base. We have F-22s buzzing our house every day. It's actually kind of cool. But business, I went and visited the South. Yes. I went to Arkansas, saw the eclipse. It was beautiful. It was worth it, though the drive did make me question humanity. Mostly humans should not be allowed to drive. I will fight you over that. I think that as soon as we can, we should have self-driving cars, and I will write books accordingly. But yeah, as far as other business, I've got my audiobook. The narrator keeps sending me questions and fixing grammar, and that makes me sad. But that's pretty much it this week.
Nice. That's
Published
awesome.
books shouldn't have grammar errors, but they do.
And
yes.
typos and all the other things.
And,
yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't have plot holes, I think you're doing all right.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
So far. Around here, it's been busy. Like I was just saying before we started the stream, that this week has gone by so fast. And I've just been nonstop. And a lot of that has to do with something we can talk about tonight. I've got my ARC team in place for my next book, and I'm actually doing an ARC team that will stay in place for my whole series. And so we'll see how that goes. Then we can talk about that. But also, I host a podcast outside of this one, which is why we're all here. So we're going to be glad and thankful for it. But it gears back up for recording in May. And so I've been booking, and like as soon as I opened it up, I had about 80 applicants that I'm having to sift through. And those are the ones that made it through the first round. Listen, it is insanity. I had somebody, I probably shouldn't say it, I had somebody apply who was a palm reader who wanted to read palms over the air on the show. And I said, that is so creative, but that is not the direction that my show takes. But thank you for your application. And
makes me even wonder, did they even see what your podcast is about?
Well, they did, and because they wrote a book about it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Okay, and that's great and fantastic, and I'm so happy and excited for them, but I just don't think they were going to be a good fit. Anyway, so I've been sifting through those applications, and I've narrowed it down. Let me say, when I say 80 applicants, those are the ones I narrowed it down to, and they have to go through another round of filtration. So anyway, I've been dealing with people all week, which is lovely and fun and exciting. Yeah, it's good times.
People are awful.
I love people.
Yes. Let me read my own palm. And the future is bleak, so the future is murky. I don't know.
It's murky.
Ask again later.
Yes, right. Ask again. Yeah, let me get the magic 8-ball, which I do have one, which you can't see it. So, what's going on in my world? Well,
you hate Facebook.
Yes, right. I'm still trying to deal with ads on Facebook, and I'm still going back and forth with trying to get the my account is restricted because it said that I did something, and I did because all right. So I put out a ad 7 months ago, and it was kicked back. I asked for a review. They took it back because it was saying it was political, and it wasn't political. It has nothing to do with politics. it was about my Something Wicked Waits. It's a story. It's a book about a carnival, or actually the good guys this time. And
It was a metaphor.
yes,
That's what
I guess so. It's yes. Anyway, so I've been going back and forth with them, but so I'm also trying to get some other ads going, and I'm just having issues with it. But other than that, working on the editing portion, finished the first draft. Now it's to the editor, and she's working on that, and she's doing a fantastic job on that. I'm also working on getting so my first 2 books are in audio format, and now I'm working on getting the 3rd and 4th books onto Audible as well. And I think I'm just going to go with the original author, or not the author, narrator, just for continuity's sake. I went with another narrator for my second book, and he's fantastic. The person that did my second book is great. But just for various reasons, I just figured, going with the first one. But I haven't worked with him in a while, so I just need to get with him. I reached out to him. He said, "Yeah, things are good, but we haven't nailed it down yet, so working on that."
Nice.
So yeah, that's there's a lot going on. Just trying to get through the week and just trying to get through this month. So it's
Right.
tax time too. So
Reminder
honestly,
to all the listeners.
yes. I mean, honestly, we should do a whole episode just on business and which we'd have to have your guest on for that, because I'm still winging it by duct tape and a hamster and a wheel.
I did finally get a tax account with the state of Utah so I can direct sale.
Nice. Good job.
If you want to do that, do it early. It takes a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Now,
I will say.
Are you doing that under an LLC, or are you doing that?
Yeah, I have an LLC.
Yeah.
I was going to say, not to just to plug the Connected Conversations for Creatives podcast. There's a whole episode on business taxes by a tax professional. So you can go over there if you're, at the last minute here needing something, you can go find that and listen to it.
In 6 days. So
yeah. I mean, you better go listen fast because it's a 2-parter, but yeah.
Oh man. All right. So do we have any news? Is there any news going on in the world? Well, besides, regular news, is there any authorly news?
I don't know about news, but I'll bring the drama.
Go ahead.
So there was an author, and she's still at it. But there is an author on TikTok who is, she's calling it "Nobody is Above Critique" or something like that, and she's going around and tagging and critiquing authors' bios in their profiles and on their websites, and she's critiquing them and talking about how they read badly or anyway. And I thought, the audacity, tag me one time, come on. That's just, I'm itching for a fight.
I guess that's one way to be, it's infamy. It's definitely not,
You better be real sure and secure in your work before you start attacking other people's work like that. It's their author bio. Yeah. I don't even know if I read author bios. I have one, and I don't even know that I actually go and read other people's.
Mine's
the
crap.
Only author.
I know.
Right?
I'm proud of mine, but it's because it's comedic. But
yeah.
I took one time Brandon Sanderson in a podcast complained that when he published the Alcatraz books, he tried to convince his publisher to let him put a picture of a potted plant in place of his face in the author bio, and they wouldn't let him. But if you look at the new edition of Alcatraz, it has a potted plant. So that's how I treat my author bio. If it doesn't make you laugh, then it's not worth.
Seriously.
Well, I think the problem is kind of like summarizing your book, which we have a meme on our page today about that. We can write 100,000 words in a story, but summarizing it in 100 words or less just isn't going to happen. Yeah. And that's the problem I have with my bio. My bio is horrible. I know it is. And I really need to do some more. I need to go back and redo it, but it's good enough.
But it's
because I don't care.
critiquing.
Right.
No one cares.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope they like my book. And
Right?
if they like my book
So they
enough to
need
read
them
my
to like
bio and they
me.
don't like my bio, well, hopefully they'll read the next book. It's-
But you can tell a lot about an author from their work, I think. Like you
Right.
can kind of get a feel for their personality based on how maybe they use ellipses or maybe they, whatever the case may be,
Yes.
some
Well,
of
you
the
know they're
comments.
Action
millennial or
dots.
older if they use ellipses.
That's right. That's exactly right. So you can kind of get to know somebody through their writing. I don't think the author bio is like that important. And if you want to get to know me, you can get a vibe on my website just poking around and not even looking at the bio. So
Well,
Just
that
look at
too.
my copyright page in my book and you'll get an idea of my
yeah.
personality.
Yours is wild.
Yes, there is blood sacrifice in my copyright page, just so you know.
So we're gonna have the palm
And now you have
reader.
to read my book.
Come on.
And this is how we get banned from live. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's nice seeing everyone.
Love y'all.
Cheers. Yeah. All right. So tonight we are going to talk about. We're going to talk about readers. We're going to talk about you,
Pre-readers.
pre-readers. Yes. And there's different stages. You have your alpha readers, you have your beta readers, ARC readers, and and then what was fun is in the precursor to leading up to this show tonight, we were talking about all kinds of readers. Like gamma readers and zeta readers. We don't even know what those are yet. We might make them up on the fly tonight. So if you have any suggestions, we'll come up with our own little, we'll change the world.
Yeah. And make your suggestions in the comments because we'll read them live on the air. Yeah.
Yes, participate. Oh, and which, by the way, if you're watching tonight and you want to tell us where you're watching from, or if you have any questions, be sure to ask them, and we'll try to answer the best we can.
And if you have ideas for shows and you're listening not so live, send us an email.
Oh, there you go. You can send that to authorsdilemma@gmail.com. And by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to comment and ask. All right. So getting to alpha, beta, and ARC readers, how do you guys use them?
Well, alpha is I think that first we should define to some extent.
Okay.
So an alpha reader is your first reader, and from most of the definitions I've seen, it's the person that gets it before it's polished. Sometimes alpha can kind of fit two spots. Like literally you've written it and and then you have someone like your wife or your significant other read it right there, or like I read it out loud to my wife. That's my very it's almost a pre-alpha because I haven't even revised it. I don't even know if it's crap yet. But it's entertaining. Oh, your stalker's on.
Yes. Yes. I can feel the eyes from the other room.
Rob says, I'm listening from your house. It's not creepy, I swear.
That's
yes,
my
Jen,
stalker.
your stalker is getting out of control.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
The other type of alpha reader is you've finished a first draft and you've done nothing really to it, and you give it to someone to read through, critique, kind of see if it's even reasonable.
Right.
See if you're even.
And so that's what I do with. Well, I don't I do it every 5,000 words. I'll send it out to my alpha readers, which I don't have very many right now.
But do you have more than one? Because
I used to have 3.
Okay.
I used to have 3, and now it's down to 1. So I need to expand that. The only thing is, though, is it takes a long time to build up trust to that level.
Yeah.
And there's not very many people out there that I have that with. But yeah, so for the 5,000 words, they kind of hey, and the only thing, it's not about the grammar. It's not about anything at that point. It's really just about, hey, does the story is it still interesting?
Raw emotion. I would say it's about the raw emotion.
Right. Yeah. Does it keep your interest, and do you like it still?
Yeah. Now, if you have a good set of alpha, there are different flavors of alpha reading you can request. That's one of the things, and this will apply to beta reading, so let's define beta reading real quick. Mm-hmm. A beta reader is after you've done a polish. You've gone through and you've revised at some level, and possibly even finished the book, and now you've polished it, and you have someone reading possibly the whole book and giving you feedback across the board. This kind of borders up to developmental editing. So it's kind of a spectrum. So some people consider a writer's group to be their alpha readers. Some people use their writer's group as beta readers. Mm-hmm. Some people use their writer's group as the developmental editor. Or some people use their beta is their developmental edit because they can't afford to hire a developmental editor.
Right.
Someday that'll change. We'll all be able to afford developmental editors. Don't know how, but
One day.
goals.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So I think the beta readers for me is after I complete it and after it goes through its edits and I get that back, then I'll send that out to and that sounds like a biplane.
that was a motorcycle.
Oh.
You are just overrun today.
Oh my
Sorry.
gosh. Yeah. No,
Got too
it's
good of
okay.
audio.
Don't worry about it. But I did forget what I was talking about.
Your beta readers.
Beta readers, yes. So, so for the 5,000, thank you. For the 5,000 words, those go to my alpha readers. And then when I'm done with the editing and all like that, then I'll send the beta, before it's fully done, out to a small group. Usually the people that follow me on Facebook, I'll put an all call out like, hey, who's interested in reading the next one? And then I'll send it out there and then I'll take their feedback and then go from there. But I think I get confused, or I think I have up until this point. I've gotten beta and ARC together. I've kind of used that stage together. So, because I'm pretty much done. Like, if they come back with some amazing thoughts, I'm like, sorry, the story's done.
Yeah. So ARC readers they're getting the advanced reading copies, and they are going to be your street and marketing team.
Mm-hmm.
They're not fixing or helping with anything. The book is
They're
done.
hopefully giving comments on Goodreads. They're putting a review up. That's the purpose of an ARC reader.
Yeah,
is to
that is
get word of mouth
all
out.
they do. Yes, they are just marketing for you.
So, all right. So how do you utilize your ARC? Now, first off, how do you find and how do you utilize it?
So that is something that I have taken great care in establishing. When it comes to my alpha readers are going to be I sent it to my next book to Hyrum. I was like, hey, tell me how bad this is. And I sent it to my sister and my stalker. And so, we're all reading it the first time through. My beta
Notice
readers,
they're all writers or very trusted people.
that's right. It is a very boop, that's it. Those three people. And then my beta readers, I put an all call out. I'm not picky about beta readers,
Right?
but I do have an application process that they have to go through before I say, yes, you can read this book early, because one, they're going to see the book ahead of time. They're going to see it with flaws because it hasn't been through the final edits in my case yet. And so they have to tell me what genres they're used to reading. They have to tell me their age group. They have to tell me where they're going to leave, if they were going to, sorry, that's ARC readers. If they're going to read it, how they want to read it, because I'm not going to send physical copies to beta readers, that kind of thing. So, there's no point.
I don't do that.
Those are for my ARC readers, because I'll tell you why in just a minute. But anyway, they have a process they have to go through. Yes,
sorry,
and so the beta readers, they'll get the ebook, and then they have a month to read it, and then they have 2 weeks after I send them the feedback request form that says, hey, tell me where my plot holes are. Tell me where the slow parts are. Tell me where you have found problems. And they are my developmental editors alongside my actual editor. They help me figure out how the story is. And they'll get a free copy of the final ebook in the end, because it doesn't cost me anything to send them an ebook. And that's a little reward, and they love it. My ARC readers also go through a process of super screening. And I mentioned earlier, I just put my series team together, and they are a group. I've got about 11, I think, ladies who are they're my rah cheerleaders. We love the first book. We're in for the whole series, and we're going to post reviews everywhere. We're going to do online events. We're going to we're a little community of the series loving people kind of thing. And so that's where my ARC readers come in. And yes, they get all of the perks and benefits. They get early access. They get merch and all that jazz.
When you use your beta readers, at what point in the editing process is that you right now you are using your sister to edit your current book? Are you also sending those out to your beta readers at the same time, or are you okay?
No, she is editing. Like she did a first run through just to kind of give me like the alpha read, and then I will make any changes based on her suggestions or Hiram or Rob's suggestions, however that happens. And then I've got a calendar over here that says on June 17th I'm sending my book to beta readers in whatever state it's in, and I will be happy with it. Like it'll be a point at which I'm content to let somebody else read it before we go into like the major changes. And I do tell the beta readers, hey, you're not checking for grammar and you're not checking for formatting or anything like that. If you find something egregious, by all means, tell me.
Right.
But, this is developmental tops. And then once I'm done with that, they send it back to me, final feedback July 1st. And then developmental, I change everything and it goes to my editor for all the final edits.
And I think that some of the keywords in there, you talked about communication and expectations. That's the biggest part of making this all work.
Yep.
It's not necessarily that you have to follow exactly Jen's formula or my formula, because I use it slightly differently.
Yeah.
It's about you being clear. Now, you can't go and just say, well, my beta readers will also do this, that, and the other, when it's just no one does that. You got to keep in mind that there is some... People don't always read what you send them in the sense of like instructions, so you're not going to get something out of the world. But if you are clear in your expectations and you communicate them effectively, you'll get what you're asking for mostly. So my alpha readers, they know I just want raw emotions. I want confusion. I want to know boredom. I want to know those kind of things. With my beta readers, I want them to also I still want the emotions, but now I want to hear what things didn't work, or what promises did I make, and did you feel I met the promises? What considerations would you want it to hear about? Which characters did you hate, and which ones did you love, and maybe why? I still notice none of these do I want them to tell me how to fix the book. I want them, though Alpha is the only one that gets some level of that. Like my wife, she point blank has told me before, like with Valley of Death, too much math. Okay. And so I cut the math. Just a little, but...
So at the beta stage, what is your ratio of people that actually come through?
Good.
5 to 1. Like 5 people I ask, 1 person delivers.
Okay.
And now using my writers group has increased that dramatically. So I get 3 people who I'm guaranteed are going to read my book because they're my beta readers / my writers group. And so we take turns. So you got at least, that's one of the reasons writers groups can be so powerful, is you've got an audience where you are all mutually sharing and doing this. But mine are kind of alpha beta borderline. But yeah, of the people out there in the world that I'm asking for feedback, 5 to 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine's a little different, and I think it comes
5
from...
to 1 that commit.
Yes. So I think when you send out an application, when you have somebody invest their time into applying to do it, it gives them more of a feeling of they're needed and they're wanted.
No, they are. Right.
And they are. And it tells them, okay, you have, and then this sounds terrible, like you only get selected because you're special, right? And so I'm not going to just select everybody that sends in an application. And so I choose the ones who they have a high reading rate. I can go look at their Goodreads. They provide their Goodreads profile, so I can go look and see what all they're reading and how often they read and that kind of thing. So I'm checking these things, right? Like I'm not just letting anybody come in and read because I need them to follow through. And so then I think this last go around, I had 10 people fill out the application. I had 8 people accept, and then I think I had 5 or 6. I'd have to go back and look. People who actually provided the feedback forms,
right?
And so I feel like that's pretty good. But they, I also I'm kind of persistent in that I'm going to email them on the days that I say, and I'm going to send a follow up 3 days later that says, hey, by the way, and it also tells them if you don't send the feedback form when I ask for it by the deadline, you're not going to make it to my next beta read invitation. Like you're not part of it next time. So
no, well, that's pretty good, because in the past, the way I've been messing it up. No, like I'll do the all call, and then people be interested, and then mine's probably like out of 10 people, 3 follow through.
Yeah.
and that's so annoying.
It
Like,
is.
and then, oh no, and I can't stand the overzealous. Like, oh yeah, no, I'll get, and then you never hear from them again. And it's like, but if I put on another all call, they'll be the same people. And no offense to them, and I'm happy that that
Yeah.
they're interested. But at the same time, it's like, no, I don't think so.
So I can make your life a little easier if you think you want to do an application. And
Yeah, I
this
think
has
that's a
been on
great
my website for a while. jcarwrites.com/free-resources. There's a beta reader application, a beta reader follow-up form, and I think it's an ARC reader application that you can download or make a copy of and customize it to your work. It's a Google form, and you can use it however you want to use it after that.
Man, she has all the good stuff.
Well, listen, so I didn't use beta readers on my very
Yeah.
first book, no matter what. I didn't use beta readers on that one. I wrote the
That's the
Lost-
title, by the way. No
That's
matter
the
what.
title. Yes, it's this guy right here, no matter
Yeah.
what. Now, my second book, that guy, I did use beta readers, and it made it a better book. Like it did. It made me a better book writer, and it made it a better book. So then, when I wrote Fall When You're Ready, boop, I used beta readers and ARC readers, and then I just decided if it's a series and everybody loves the series that's reading it, we're going to just make it a big happy. It's 4 books. I don't have to go recruit more unless somebody drops off, whatever. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, good. All right. So coming back, so I think we've got alpha and beta out of the way. So coming over to ARCs, how do you find them and how do you utilize them? And then you're going to tell us about. Okay. So my question is, you brought up sending out physical copies. Now,
Yeah,
do you
I did
publish? Yeah. Do you publish first and then send the books out to your ARC?
To do it that way, you've got to have a lot of time built in.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to be really far ahead. You have to be ready to publish probably, 2 months before the actual publication date?
Actually, so there, and I should have made a banner for this. There's a website called lulu.com, I believe. I'll check that before we put up a thing. But lulu.com, and you can upload your book and they'll print it, and then it's not published anywhere. They're basically print on demand printers kind of thing. And so
Kind of like Book Vault?
I don't know what Book Vault is, but maybe. So yeah, you have the option of forming a store with them, but that's not what I did. They print it for you, and it's nice or whatever. And so yeah, I send out like PR boxes, but you're talking people who are investing, like they're making social media posts and they are making reviews on all the major sites, and they are recruiting and like
Now,
True believers.
let's talk about that though, because all the time you see Instagram influencers like, oh, pay me such and such and I'll read your book and review it. And actually that's against
Amazon
a lot of policies.
Yep.
So and if they found out you did that,
They will cut your author account off if they find out. Yeah. And it used to not be that way. That's just recently that if they find out, then they're mad. So yeah.
Well, that's a lot to digest. So no, because I haven't done that
Sorry.
at all. Like no. I just that just means new systems that I have to develop for my own business. And
They're important.
yes, they are.
But
They are.
there are a lot of resources on how to do that, besides the one Jen has on her website, which probably consolidate them in one spot. But you'll find a lot of blogs and podcasts and YouTube videos that can really go into depth on how to do this. Now, the number one thing you're going to find in those is if it seems either too hard or too easy, they're probably wrong. It's not that hard. It seems complicated till you get into the details and you're like, okay, there's not that many steps. It's just some of them feel stupid because you feel... I don't mean the steps are stupid. I mean, I feel stupid doing them because I'm not the kind of person that wants fans. I just want to write books and have people like the books, and I don't want them to even know I exist, but I live in the modern world. Like, I would love to have been an author 40 years ago. No one knows what anyone looks like back then. I mean, the only reason... Stephen King was like the only person anyone knew his face, but that's because he's that ugly. And he got famous. So I don't want to be famous, but apparently you kind of have to be part of a community. And so you have to make a community and kind of be a personality. And so you can take it to the extreme that some authors do and become a cult leader. Like, honestly, if Brandon Sanderson made a call, he could probably raise an army and march on whatever. They'd be very dispersed, so it's not very useful. But still, he's got a cult following.
Right, you're building you're building a brand.
That's it.
And
Yes.
you are your brand if you run under a certain
Especially
name.
in an AI world. In an AI world, you've got to prove to your readers that you're not AI.
That's true
And
too.
you've got to be able to say, they've got to see the process. They've got to know. And so having true fans that are like, I was an ARC reader, or I was a beta reader, and I saw the unfinished product. He didn't use AI. That's going to come
Right.
to. We're going to come to a point where we're going to need those
Very
testimonies.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's why some people just the people that follow me on my Facebook is just because I'm genuine. It's like I try not to, what you see is what you get. Whether you like it or not, that's up to you. But
Christina Jones does appreciate the building a cult following.
that's perfect. Yes, join us.
Okay, so it's really funny that in the email that I sent my ARC team today, I was like, we're forming a secret club, and I feel like we should have a secret handshake. And I was like, now that you've said that, I'm going, great. I'm just kidding.
Cults aren't all bad. Well, maybe. Okay.
Instead of the Justice League, it's the Just Us League.
I like it. I like it. And it was
Well, actually,
literally
no. I
.com.
mean, it's the that's why we affectionately call everybody that listens to the show tadpoles.
That's right.
The author's dilemma. We're all tadpoles.
Being part of a group is not bad. And being
Right.
part of a group doesn't inherently make it truly a cult.
Right.
Remember, I'm a comedian.
Right.
But that is one thing as an author you're going to have to come to grips with. And I've been still having a hard time with that. That's maybe part of why I have such a hard time with marketing is I don't like that. I mean, I'm a fan of Brandon Sanderson, but at the same time, I'm not a fan of Brandon Sanderson. I buy his books. I don't necessarily want to get all of his merch, but I can kind of see the appeal. I've gotten some t-shirts. I won a free t-shirt once.
Yeah.
And great, but at the same time, I don't want to go too deep. I don't want to make it part of my life.
I don't hero
So
worship
other
anybody.
people want that.
Yeah.
I think it comes out hero worship. Like I don't really like if I see someone and they've done something really great. Hey, good job.
Yeah.
I don't want to bother people. I know people. I don't know.
But we need to become someone. Not necessarily. We don't have to try to find that hero worship cult mentality that some famous people do. I mean, that just look at Taylor Swift fans. There's great ones, and then there's people that would murder for her.
Right. Yes.
And you don't want fans like that because they will also murder you when you disappoint them.
Then something else I find kind of interesting. I mean, just the whole imposter syndrome too. Like, first off, we're getting over the whole like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I wrote a book. Oh my gosh, I can't believe people like it. And then developing this brand and having people say nice things. You don't know how to take that. Sometimes, like, oh. What do I do now? Well, thank you. That would be one.
Yeah, because what do you do when your marketing comes to pass and you suddenly, like a friend of ours, Dan Kenner, great. He's a fun author. I'm in a writers group with him. He has a great TikTok group, but he kind of gave up on TikTok even after he got a $14 million view video about his cat. It's an adorable kitten. Not a kitten anymore, but the thing is, he didn't like the attention, and I don't blame him. That's part of what scared me off of TikTok is seeing what happened to him. It wasn't that anything bad happened. It's just that he honestly seemed uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable for him because I wouldn't want that kind of attention, even if it was about my cat. So,
Well, I think that was one thing I always had a problem with when it came to TikTok is there were some people on there that you got to be careful what you put out because that becomes your brand.
Yep.
And I found myself doing goofy videos, and I'm like, okay, this isn't who I am. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I have a good sense of humor, but I don't want to be known for, this guy's, whatever. And then some people are just sharing way too much information about themselves, and it's just like,
yeah,
oh my
but that's
gosh,
where you're
this
going to
isn't
get
gonna
arc
go
readers.
away. Yeah.
I think
I mean, that's where we three met.
well, yeah, but we also had other common goals, right? And I
Right.
think that's the whole point of, and the way to go about it is to find other people who are as excited as you are about your work. That's where your best ARC readers are going to
Oh,
come
right.
from. People
Right.
who have left
That's a good
those
way to
really
put it.
nice reviews, those people who have sent you messages that said, hey, this really spoke to me. I had somebody who they sent me a message about, oh my gosh, I loved Fall When You're Ready. It was like 5 stars, da da da. And I said, well, I'll be opening up applications for my art reading group if you are interested. She's like, yes, sign me up. So it's those people who are just as excited about your characters and your stories as you are. That's
Well-
where you find your common goals and ground.
Well, kind of a caveat just to go with before. Well, not really a caveat. Side note. It's interesting though, as you do develop people that follow you and they start engaging with you online. You start to wonder about them though, like not wonder in a good way, like because some of my readership are older, and when I haven't heard from them in a while, I'm like, oh gosh, I hope they're okay, because you don't know. I mean, I don't
they're
know
real
these people.
people.
What's that? Yeah, they're
They're
real
real
people,
people.
and I care about them. I mean, and it's just like so.
Well, that's the whole point.
So,
You're
so my
building a
readers, if you're
community.
watching this, I care about you. And
Check in, Josh, please. Everybody check in.
Yeah, check in now. Yeah, No, but there's some that you see time and again, but then there's some that were like that, and then I haven't heard from them in a year or so.
Yeah,
And
but on the
it's
flip side, are you staying in touch with them as well?
Well,
Like,
that's
are
true,
you
too.
checking
Like,
it? Yeah, it's a
it's
two-way
like-
street. Yeah.
right. Well, definitely not on TikTok.
Yeah, you let go of all of us over there.
Yeah, it's like drop. No.
Well,
All
I
right.
mostly dropped it too.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of it. I just don't like
The algorithm.
the algorithm,
algorithm.
the fact that you have to do like 2 or 3 videos a day, and it's like no one has time. I don't have time for that. I don't.
yeah.
I barely have time for my writing with the day job.
AI will do it for you.
Hey.
Actually,
I was going to
they
try
will.
to. Yeah. Yes. But I'm real, and you can see.
I have
right.
5 fingers on each
Yeah,
hand.
yeah. Actually, I saw an ad for, and it was probably a joke ad, a meme ad, but they had these rings with these extra fingers. You should wear so that way when people start taking pictures of you, you'll be like, no, it's AI. So it can mess up the algorithms.
When you're doing
hysterical.
illegal things, you put on those
Yeah.
rings. So that's not photo evidence. That's AI.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my!
That's fantastic.
All right, so
And
we're
wear
at
a
30
wig of someone else's hair.
Yeah, so we're 37 minutes in. I think we kind of covered this pretty well. Is there any last thoughts or last?
No,
I
I'll
think
just-
the one thing, don't get discouraged.
Oh,
Yeah.
Don't get
right.
discouraged. You're going to go through a ton of people that just flake out, and that's
Yeah.
okay because you're weeding through a lot of people that have enthusiasm, but they aren't actually that enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Well, and then let's face it too. Like life is complicated.
Yeah.
And we got to give people grace because, there's some really good people out there that have good intentions, but hey, sometimes life gets in the way, and they
does.
can't.
Like you
And-
suddenly have to go to an eclipse.
Yeah.
4 days of driving.
Donnie Salter
What's up,
gives us the
Donnie?
peace sign.
The
Donnie,
same.
I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you chiming in. Actually, he is a perfect story about following your dreams. He worked
Are you
full
allowed to
time.
tell his story?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
he tells it himself on his stuff, so I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it for him. That's what you get for giving me the peace sign, buddy. But no, he worked full time. He was really busy, and he had like a side business doing graphic design and things of that nature. Well, here we are 10 years later, well, actually probably longer than that. And he's created like this whole hat company and apparel, and does like, he uses the Glowforge, and I mean he does a lot of cool stuff.
Nice.
and he takes care of his family. I love following his. Sorry, it's just but that's what happens. When you follow your dreams, and there's going to be discouragement. There's going to be ups and downs, and but eventually it will. You'll be a 10-year overnight success.
That's exactly right. That's
if you
exactly
keep
right.
on going.
Okay, so real quick, jcarwrites.com/free-resources is where you can get the free applications that you can make copies of. And it was lulu.com/create. You can go print books from there.
Right.
You can also do bookvault.app, and it distributes for you too. It's kind of an alternative to like BookFunnel.
Okay.
Bookvault.app.
All right, we are at the end. If you want to send us a message, please use or send us an email at authorsdilemma@gmail.com if you have any questions or topics or critiques, because we'll take them all. We appreciate your time, and we will see you next time.